I suppose we should really, there's a massive game coming up. But before we sort of delve into that, I mean, there's so much been spoken about that Friday night, as you mentioned, Bournemouth, 2 up, 2-2, 4-2, a Chiesa special, Anfield ringing around. And people have analysed various bits around individual performances. What were your biggest takeaways from Friday night just gone?
The biggest takeaways were that Hugo Ekitike is very good, but the defence still needs a bit of work and fine-tuning, I think, because first half they were okay, but second half I thought Bournemouth were well deserving of being level, and at that point I did actually think Bournemouth might have gone on and won it. They also, I would say, they also looked a little bit tired, and I thought the same in the Community Shield. But obviously, that is something that will change with time and play more regularly. Kirkes doesn't seem to have properly settled into that position yet. So they're the negative things. There were a lot of positives, though. As I say, Ekitike was good. I thought McAllister played well on his return. Gakpo, lovely goal. Salah, obviously quiet in parts, but started the game and finished the game very well, I thought. I thought the centre backs did look a bit shaky though, Konate especially. Not just for the goals, but also he gave the ball away a bit easy a couple of times. But Bournemouth are a good team, so they were always going to have spells, especially like Iraola. They're a very fit team, I think Slot described them as. So it was never going to be an easy game to start the season. But that Newcastle game that we mentioned there, that'll be tough. It'll be emotionally charged, won't it? So obviously they don't have a forward, Newcastle, but I think St James's Park is always a tough place to go at the best of times. Struggled there last season and the season before, I seem to remember. So yeah, it'll be a tough game, that. And Newcastle players are going to be bang up for it. I'm sure, Bruno Guimaraes and Joe Linton, they're not going to be holding back. They'll be lumping into them tackles. So tough game. If they win that, then it's a very good start to the season.
Does feel that way, yeah. They are just going to, not being derogatory to Newcastle, they're not trying to start more wars with them, but they will look to make it as physical as possible, won't they? And I suppose with that, we're thinking a little bit of the lineups and, what might happen. First question, midfield. Ryan Gravenberch's got to come straight back in, hasn't he?
Yes, because I think that was one of the weaknesses of both the Community Shield and Friday. And I think it's the biggest compliment to Gravenberch is that when he's not there, you can really tell. McAllister obviously settled it slightly, but he got tired in the second half. And then, I think I'd definitely be playing Gravenberch and McAllister together on what day is it? Monday. And then he's got a decision to make. I would still go with Wirtz personally. I know a lot of maybe more non-Liverpool fans have been giving him a bit of stick for his Premier League debut. Yeah. I didn't think he was actually that bad. I just thought he was a bit quiet. But, definitely bring in Gravenberch. And then maybe brings in Robertson at left-back. I'm not sure. Just because of how emotionally charged the game will be. Does he want that more experience? And the fact that Robbo has played next to Virgil for, years. And Kirkes and Virgil don't have that sort of link up yet. But let's see what Slot comes up with.
It's interesting because you do wonder against Elanga's pace whether he fancies Kirkes instead of Robbo, as you mentioned. There's the experience then. And you mentioned keeping Wirtz. I suppose the question is, Gravenberch's going to come in, of course. Who might make way? Do you see Wirtz shifting left and Gakpo going out? So all four midfielders are on the pitch in that sense, or any different from that?
It's a real tough one because I do think Szoboszlai is really good in these sorts of games where Liverpool are under the cosh a bit because he puts such a good shift in off the ball. These sort of selection headaches are why Liverpool wanted. It's a good thing, basically. It's not, it's a good thing because last season you thought who actually comes in if one of the midfielders get injured, it felt like a downgrade. Now there's 3 positions and 4 of them. Unless he comes up with something like he did at the Etihad last season with the sort of split strikers and Wirtz and Ekitike. But definitely would. I think Wirtz is one of the best players, so you want him on the pitch. Whether that means dropping Gakpo or dropping Szoboszlai, I'm not sure. Or even I wouldn't drop Ekitike based on how well he's played last 2 games. So it's a tough decision. Maybe McAllister. Maybe McAllister misses out and Szoboszlai stays in just because he's more fit. But I think definitely Gravenberch, first name on the team sheet alongside, Alisson, Virgil, the obvious ones, Salah.
Yeah.
And then Slot has a big decision to make. I've sort of gone through the pros and cons of each one and sat on the fence for a little bit. But that's mainly because I'm not sure either.
Yeah, true. Very politician style answer. We'll try and be a bit more direct with the questioning for the last few then. I mean, right back, as it stands, and I'm hoping you're going to give us maybe an update that, as we know, Jeremy Frimpong felt his hamstring. Arne Slot told us that, so he was taken off. Connor Bradley seems to be, we're a bit question mark unknown on that. So Joe Gomez might be the only official fit right back at this moment in time. Any updates, or is it 2:30 tomorrow or some weird time tomorrow, the press conference, isn't it?
Yeah, it's at 2:30 tomorrow. So there's been a few. I don't have a definite update on Frimpong yet, but I probably will do by the time that presser starts. Certainly will by the end of it. Yeah, he felt his hammy and then he carried on and then he came off. So maybe that's a positive sign. But with it being so early in the season, I'm not sure Slot and the medical team would want to risk Frimpong's hammy, especially based on the fact that Bradley's injured.
Yeah.
And then you've got the problem that Joe Gomez has not played all year. So can he start a game and play a full 90 minutes? So there's a lot of dilemmas in there. So let's hope for some good news on Frimpong. I have asked people and I've been left with 2 blue ticks, which normally a bad sign. But let's see what happens.
Yeah, maybe there's just a good surprise waiting. And I did say one more because he's come up a few times in the chat panel. Mr. Lewis Steele, Mr. Lewis Kumas. Is there an update on that to finish the show?
Yes, I do think he will leave. It's just a question of whether that's on loan or as a permanent. I think there's a load of clubs interested. I know Wrexham, Birmingham. I think Sheffield United. I know Sheffield United inquired earlier in the summer, but I'm not sure if they're still as hot on him. But I would say he'll leave for a Championship club, probably more likely on a permanent deal with a buyback clause.
Which will probably be a good move for him, a good move for us at the same time. So there we go, ladies and gents. It does feel like we may be getting towards yellow tie time. If it is Isak, if it is Gay, there don't seem to be many alternatives around. There'll definitely be outgoings, but how many, how much is still to be decided. What will be decided as well on Monday is under the lights of St. James's, and it will be ferocious. A hell of a game, the Alexander Isak derby. All it leaves me to say as ever, for the time, the insight, and for answering all the questions, is much appreciated, Lewis.
As ever, appreciated from me too.
And ladies and gents, that was another Media Matters for Anfield Index.